My name's Laddie Alexander, 26. I'm based in Northwest London and I run a clothing line called Marbeck. I'm the creative director, also one of the founders of the brand. I guess it was just like having your own ideas to the point where you feel like you could project these ideas and other people would resonate with these ideas. And yeah, that's purely where it came from. When you have a strong sense of something, then believe you can almost make a business out of this. But obviously it initially starts off as like a hobby, a passion, or just something you're interested in. So it then becomes, very easy to wake up in the morning and work on something, you know? There's quite a lot of brands that inspired our designs and the sort of ideas I have and we have for the company. It tended to be obviously high fashion brands, piece of fabric, their processes, their techniques, and just their whole approach to sort of street fashion. They always adopted a very luxury approach. So I think brands like Givenchy, Saint Laurent, if you're talking high fashion, then if you're talking brands a bit more contemporary, brands like Acne, APC, YMC, a lot of the sort of Scandinavian brands, if I'm being totally honest with you, the whole minimalistic approach is definitely where we get a lot of our inspiration from, and I get a lot of my inspiration from. First piece we made was a split DPM bomber. It was burgundy camouflage on one side and green camouflage on the other side. So it was really like quite a new, interesting take on like camouflage. Like people hadn't seen like things like that before. So I think that's why it got quite a good reaction. And yeah, that was our first piece, and all the pieces kind of stemmed from there because it was such a strong piece as well. It was like the hero piece. So a lot of our other pieces kind of like developed on the back of that piece. A lot of brands start off making t-shirts and hats first because they are cheaper to make, easier to make. One good thing about hats is one size fits all. So if you order like 100 hats, 200 hats, you don't have to worry about you don't have this size left anymore. Whereas with clothes, it can be a lot more technical. You need to be a lot more specific because people are a bit more particular with like outerwear, jeans, trousers, things like that. That's why a lot of brands start off with t-shirts and hats. However, we purposely did not start off with t-shirts and hats because we didn't want to be like any other t-shirt and hat brand. We wanted people to look at us from a different angle. We didn't really want to be pigeonholed, which is why we started off with bombers, the camouflage bomber that I just spoke about with half burgundy and half green. And now we do a bit more t-shirts and hats, and they are like good products to sell. Again, they're easy to make, it's quicker production, turnaround times and stuff like that. So it's a bit easier to manage those types of products. And obviously there's less capital needed to sort of get those products. Initially, it was just a matter of mood boarding, brainstorming, kind of like finding exactly what kind of products we wanted to create, what type of brand we wanted to be. Was it streetwear? Was it high fashion? Was it contemporary? Was it rock, punk? And when we found what we wanted, which was obviously contemporary sort of streetwear, the next stage for us was to start designing pieces. This was a very lengthy process because obviously it's not like now where we're out and we know what direction we're going in. This was a matter of like us finding our feet and finding what direction we wanted to go in and finding out what we would like and what we wouldn't like. So it was really a learning curve, but the process just consisted of, after the designs were made and we were happy with some of the designs, you source your fabric. Once you source your fabric, you then get your patterns made up by your pattern maker or your seamstress, and then they will sample it with the fabric you give them, with all the cuts which they would have seen on the technical drawing of the design. So we did that. We did a few bits and bobs before we actually produced something we were happy with. So I'd say it was about a 1 year process of like making a few products like hoodies, sweatshirts, until we finally made the bomber, where I think when we saw it, we were just very happy with it. For the process of the bomber was we had to design our own camouflage print, then send that to a digital printer. We then printed that on a roll of fabric. They now send the roll of fabric back to us. We then send that to the seamstress along with your zips, your lining, your buttons, any other sort of fastenings or ornaments you want on the garment. They now sew everything up, and as soon as they sewed that up, that's when we were ready to go. So that was the process of like getting the brand up and running. And then from there, yeah, we just kept things ticking from there. Just started making things in like different colorways, because once you sort of form your blueprint, it gives you the sort of flexibility to change things and decide what to do next. So that was definitely our blueprint. We've had to trademark some of our prints as well, because we've seen like a few like, not brands, but like manufacturers sort of using some of our imagery and some of our garments to sort of entice people to sort of like do business with them, because they can produce our products, well, what it looks like our product. So yeah, we've had to trademark our logos and things like that, just to protect ourselves legally, you know. Social media has been our main sort of marketing tool. Obviously it's free, so it's a no-brainer, because marketing can be very expensive. Doing marketing campaigns, like doing photo shoots, working with top models, even like getting props for your shoots. So many different areas where you can sort of spend money marketing-wise, which is why we utilize social media as much as we can, because it's a free tool. And a lot of people have become aware of the brand through social media. That was a lot of people's sort of first place of contact, especially where we don't have a store yet. We stocked in 1 or 2 stores internationally, etc. However, social media has been our main route to market, just working with so many influencers on social media, constantly posting on social media, interesting content like funny sort of jokes where a comedian might be wearing one of our garments. We sort of put that on social media. Obviously also conceptual things on social media. So many things you can do on social media, to the point where like as a brand it's just a free tool. We use social media a lot to find more so brand ambassadors. The brand ambassadors then obviously influence the customers, because with social media it's not so much about the following, it's about why people are following you. So for instance, if you have 100,000 followers and they follow you because you may look good, it's not as impactful to someone that has 10,000 followers. However, most people that follow that 10,000 follow them for their sort of fashion sense. So that's what we use to sort of gauge who we would sort of make an ambassador. It's the more how influential they are for sort of fashion or style and things of that nature. And that's kind of how we like pick out people for social media and who we're going to use to sort of market the brand, making sure they fit with the brand's ideology. The sort of, we also notice the more we post, the more sales we make. And obviously we live in an era where everything's on social media now. So the more you utilize it, the more traffic you'll get to your website. Essentially, the more sales you'll make. Definitely Instagram for us, because we're a visual brand. We sell clothes, so people want to see styles, they want to see who's wearing it, they want to see what fabrics you're working on, they want to see what you've got coming new. Essentially, people just want to see. So for us, Instagram's definitely been our main tool where I can say there's a lot of active followers. That's also where we have our largest following. But I feel like the key to social media, or one of the keys to social media, is just releasing interesting content as consistently as possible. Quality over quantity, but there still needs to be quantity, because if you're posting once every 4 days or once every week, people are going to forget about you.